Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to continue with the kitchen cabinet installation, both lower and upper. Okay, now we put our corner cabinets up, and as you can see, I put that piece of wood across the wall to support the cabinets while we screwed them in place where they belong. We marked down on the cabinet where it's going to go. The lower one is going to go into the corner, but we have a clean out and a drain pipe that goes through there. So what we need to do is transfer over onto the back of the unit itself the location of where the drain pipe is going to go and the clean out, and we need to notch it out slightly. All right, this is the piece that we're going to be removing from where the old cabinet used to be. We're just going to unscrew that and take that out. We also have to mark the location of on the sink base unit where the pipes are going to be coming through. Okay, so we marked everything where it's supposed to, where the pipes are going to be, and now we went down onto the bottom of the unit itself, and we used our reciprocating saw to cut through it so that we can actually put the corner cabinet in, and it'll fit right over that one spot right there where the pipe is located. All right. We cut the bottom out as well because the pipe that goes down into the concrete floor is going to interfere with the base unit itself. So we cut that out as well. And now we'll be able to slide that cabinet right in, level it off, and then bolt it right up. Now you'll see up underneath here on the bottom of these cabinets, you see the board that we put on there. It's called a ledger board, so we could stand the cabinets on top of it, hold them in place, screw them to the wall, and there's no fussing to try to keep it in position. It's there. Now we're going to have to do some calculations to see where our pipes are going to come through, but we're going to do that. We're going to use a template, and we'll come in there and we'll mark the holes and drill them. And we're going to be removing this corner panel here because we have a new panel that's going to be going on. Now before we put our sink base unit in, we need to measure the bottom where the pipes come through so we can actually notch out the sink base unit to go over the top of those pipes that you see coming up in the floor right there, because this is on a concrete slab. So we had to notch it out to go over the top of those pipes right there. Now we have our base unit in place. We have it up, lined up to the marks that we have on there. This is crucial that you take the time and put your level on there to make sure that everything is exactly level, front to back and side to side. It's got to be perfectly level. Otherwise, you'll need to shim it a little bit just to line everything up so that it's perfectly level. And again, we'll check the side to make sure. And as you can see, it's right on the money. We did have to shim it, of course. And it'll vary from kitchen to kitchen how many shims you're going to need to use. But you can see in the back where we shimmed it a little bit, and down on the bottom we also did the exact same thing. We shimmed it down on the bottom as well. Alright, we'll check it one more time to make sure before we put any screws into it, and then we'll screw it up nice and tight. And you can see the shims in the back. We put the shims on the back there to bring it out so that it lines up perfectly in the front. The sides now are level. We put our next unit, our next base unit, and attached it to that corner cabinet. Screwed everything together. And as you can see, everything is level and plumb on everything. Okay. Now we're going to drill right through here, put our screws in, and join everything together. We attached it actually in 3 different locations so it holds nice and tight, and we made sure that the cabinets line up exactly. Okay, so now that we have our base unit in here, the sink base unit, you can see we cut out for all of the plumbing, and we put it over the top here so that we can, later on, we can actually connect up the valves and everything for the sink. We cut out our drain opening in the back, and this is for our external faucet outside, the water for the gardening. So we have the unit in. We have it clamped together against the drawer unit. We made sure it's level right across the top right here. We made sure it's perfectly straight here, and we clamped it together. We put our shims down underneath the bottom to shim everything up so that it's perfectly level. We shimmed it here, and we actually shimmed it down on the bottom on the other sides over here to make everything level. We put our level over the top of it, and we just make sure that it's perfectly level here, and this way here as well, which is level. And of course, like this, make sure it's perfectly level. So everything is perfectly leveled and squared the way it's supposed to be. Now we're going to come in over here and we're going to install the screws that go into the face of the cabinet to hold it to the face of the cabinet over here. I'm going to put 3 screws in, but that's personal preference. I like putting 3 in there because it keeps it nice and tight, the joints. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill down on the bottom here. I'm going to pre-drill this cabinet here with the drill so that this screw goes right into here, and then this part here will cut its threads going into the face of this cabinet here. All right, so let me do that, and we'll just drill that through. All right, so you want to hold your drill as straight as possible, and then you're going to drill through. You're only going to go through the one cabinet, which is about 1.5 inches, and we're going to go slightly into the other one. We're not going to go too far. And just so you know, the drill bit that I'm using, it's only a 3/16 drill bit. Now you only want to drill through partially, as you can see. I only drilled it through partially. Now what we're going to do is we're going to countersink this hole because the head of the screw will be sticking up, and you can see how it's tapered right here. So we're going to countersink the hole. Now if you don't have a countersink, you can just use a drill bit to just put a little bit of a groove in here to countersink the head, or if you have something like this, you could countersink it as well. So let's do that real quick. Just a little bit like that for the screw for this part of the screw head to actually be recessed down into it. So let's go just a tiny bit more. Just like that. The face is nice and straight. The bottom is nice and even down here as well. And now we're going to drive that screw in there. So let me get my screwdriver. And you can see how flat that is against here so that you don't have anything sticking out. All right, now we're going to put another one here, and then we're going to put another one up in the top up here as well. So let's just do that. Maybe you only want to drill partially through. Now a drill works better if you drill in a little bit, then you pull it out so that you can drop all of the filings off. Okay. Now we're going to countersink that hole just a little bit. Put a screw in. Make sure again that it's perfectly flush here, and then we can screw it all the way in. Okay, we're going to do one more up top right here. Okay, so now our faces are all screwed together. We have everything shimmed on the bottom where it's supposed to be. Here. We checked our level here. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to come in the back right up over here where I marked the beam, and we're going to install a screw right inside there. So let me grab a screw and we'll come right back. Okay, I just want to explain what shims are. Shims are actually tapered pieces of wood like that. It starts out very thin on the bottom, and as you go up it's tapered to get much thicker. And the reason it's like that is because if you have a very small gap, you have this in there, and then you just slide the shim down until it actually takes up the space behind the wood, and then you know you're shimmed off properly. All right, but there's lots of different kinds. This is just one of the kinds that I picked up in the big box store. All right, and the shim goes in here just like this. The reason you put a shim in there is because the wall itself may not be perfectly straight. And if the wall is not perfectly straight and you put a screw in here, you're going to bow the back of the cabinet itself. So that's why we put shims in there, to keep that from happening. All right, so now we're ready to put our screw in here. We're going to just drill through the wood. And the reason we drill the wood like that is because sometimes when you put a screw in, it splits the wood. That's why we pre-drill it. And that's it. So now this cabinet is in. We're going to check it one more time in the back over here with our level to make sure it's level, which it is. We're going to check it this way to make sure it's actually level this way, which it is. And of course up in the front right here as well. All right, so this cabinet is now finished. We're just going to take a utility knife such as this, and we're going to come in here, we're going to cut these shims off. Very easy. You just take the utility knife and you just strike it across here a couple times. And then you break it off like that. Same thing in the back. All right, so we'll break those off too, and then we're ready to do our dishwasher in here. So, all right, we'll come back and we're ready to put the dishwasher in, and we'll continue. As you can see, we took off the end panel that was there and we installed the new end panel. We slid the dishwasher in. We connected all the wiring down below. And here we have the discharge tube for the dishwasher that's going to be connected into the sink or into the sink drain at a later date once we get to that point. You can see the cabinets now, the upper cabinets, we took off that ledger board that was underneath it. So now the cabinets are mounted on the wall and everything is looking good. We put the cabinet to the left side of the window. We installed that the same way. We put a ledger board underneath there. We measured down from the ceiling and we screwed that in as well. Okay. All right, so everything is nice and tight. Of course, we took the doors off to make the cabinet lighter while we were working with it. And now everything on the base unit here is screwed together and tight. Okay, so we got the dishwasher in. We actually have, obviously when you put a dishwasher in, you have to make sure that it's underneath the counter where the granite is going to go. We did put a level on the front of this to make sure that it is level and plumb. We did connect up the electrical, and we ran the discharge line over through here where it's going to come into the sink once the granite counter is put back in with the sink attached. Down in the bottom down there, you can see down here, I put a hole through over here because I'm going to run the supply line into the dishwasher. All right, but the dishwasher is all connected. Now you know you have to have 24 inches from point to point. We did install this side piece right here as well, and as you can see, I put a filler in the back over here. The filler is because the granite's going to sit on top of that filler, and I put an L bracket in here to hold the corner nice and tight. We are going to put a piece across the top here to here over the top of the dishwasher to make sure that it remains 24 when the granite is put back in here. So that we are going to do as well. The base unit you can see is in. I do have the line which you see right over here. That line I'm going to replace it, but again that goes to the outside, so that'll be a in the video later on once the sink is put back in, and then we can reconnect all the plumbing here. All right, everything as you can see is up against the back right here. It's up to the line, so we have everything is nice and level throughout. We have to put a filler strip on here so that we have the cabinets or even with the top itself. The top cabinets are in as far as I can go. And like I said, down on the bottom down here, I'm waiting for my tiles to come in because I'm going to actually put tile down on the bottom, down on the kick plate down there, or the toe kick they call it. I'm going to put that in there as well. And I'll have to grout the tiles on the other side there as well. All right, this one I'm probably going to chisel this tile out, but we'll see how that goes. I may just try putting one in there. If it doesn't work, then I might chisel that tile out, but we'll see how it goes. All right, but that's the update on the project. But the granite, I'm going to have the guy come in and template it, and we'll get this wrapped up, and I'll show you that when it gets to it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.